Donald Trump and his stooge judge Eileen Cannon are being called out before the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals for trying to destroy Volume 2 of Special Counsel Jack Smith's report in connection with his criminal prosecutions of Donald Trump. One, of course, involved Trump's conduct relating to the January 6th insurrection. That's Volume 1. Volume 2 relates to Donald Trump taking highly classified and sensitive information, like potentially nuclear secrets, and hiding it at Mar-a-Lago and then obstructing justice. That was the criminal case before Judge Eileen Cannon. You'll recall that she dismissed the case on some frivolous basis, saying that the special counsel is unconstitutional. She was the only judge to ever make that type of ruling. And then after Trump won the election, the appeals in that matter were essentially mooted. But the only issue remaining before Judge Cannon, and that has been remaining, is because all of the files and documents regarding the Mar-a-Lago document case were before her. She just needs to basically issue a release of the documents, specifically Special Counsel Jack Smith's report, Volume 2, which lays out the special counsel's findings regarding the crimes that Donald Trump was being prosecuted for. But you see, what Judge Cannon did for over a year was do nothing. After Donald Trump won the election, she refused to make any rulings at all, especially while the DOJ switched over from the Biden DOJ to the Trump DOJ. She took no action. And because she took so long to do anything, where she was supposed to make some ruling one way or another regarding the report prepared by Special Counsel Jack Smith, the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals had to actually intervene. That's the circuit court that oversees the Southern District of Florida court. Cannon's in the Fort Pierce division. And they said, Cannon, you've got to make a ruling one way or another regarding this report so it can come back to us and we can decide what happens with the report. In any circumstance, this report should be released. This isn't a controversial topic. You know, special counsel reports are released. If there's highly classified information in the report, that gets redacted. We know all about redactions right now, but then that should be released to the public. And so after the 11th Circuit made that ruling, Judge Eileen Cannon set an elongated briefing schedule to try to delay even more and push this into like January and February of 2026. And then so what happened was Donald Trump, in his private capacity, said these documents that come from Jack Smith, they should be destroyed. And then Walt Nauta, the other defender, remember Nauta was involved in that one, he said not only should the documents be suppressed, they need Jack Smith's report and all of the documents, they need to be burned. They need to be incinerated. I kid you not. They said, order that it be destroyed. And then the Department of Justice, which is supposed to be justice, is the one supposed to say, you know what? These documents by law are required to be released with proper redactions. But here, because the DOJ, as you now know, has no credibility at all, and it's just an arm of Trump's fascism, they basically said, we agree. We basically join, right? The DOJ is supposed to be on one side of the V and the criminal defendant on the other. They're like, no, we agree. Do whatever you want, Judge. We're not opposing what Trump and Nauta want. Destroy, it's fine. So then this group called the Knight First Amendment Institute, they're a group at Columbia University. They then tried to intervene representing the public before Judge Eileen Cannon. And they did a petition saying, look, Judge, if you're going to adjudicate this and you rule in favor of Trump and the DOJ to destroy this, there hasn't been any opposition because Trump and the DOJ are now both the bad guys. So there needs to be some just stay the destruction of the documents in the report. So at least the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals can weigh in, because even though the 11th Circuit tends to skew more conservative, more right-leaning, nobody would say destroy these records. But what happens if the district court orders the immediate burning and destruction? The DOJ has it. So imagine you have Cannon issues an order, and immediately the DOJ is ready to hit delete. They destroy it. And then when the 11th Circuit finally says, actually, we want to intervene here, then the DOJ says, it's moot. We just followed the judge's order and we hit destroy right away. So this is an extraordinary petition, where as a law professor, this intrigues me, and as someone who cares about our country and transparency, it's critical, but you don't see things like this ever filed. So when I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, this is an interesting argument because this never had to be done. Normally the DOJ would be the one saying, release it. Of course, release it. That's what the law requires you to do. So here, this group they do great work, the First Amendment Institute at Columbia University. They've said, look, we reached out to Judge Cannon. She's ignoring our petition to intervene. So we haven't got a ruling there. She's doing the canon. And we're really worried that what's about to happen, 11th Circuit, is she's going to make this order, destroy the records, destroy the documents. And so we want to put this on your radar. And I think what they want to do via this mandamus process, which again is extraordinary, and there's not a lot of precedent for even doing something like this. But I think what they want to at least put on the 11th Circuit's radar is for them, even sua sponte, meaning on their own initiative, take the extraordinary relief and just say something like, even though you may not have standing right now, hey, Judge Cannon, don't destroy. It's our understanding that any destruction would be illegal. Get the 11th Circuit to do something here, put it on their radar and hope they say something. Because it's a tough argument to appeal something where your petition has not been ruled on yet, because what's the basis of appellate jurisdiction when the underlying judge hasn't yet ruled? But here, they're saying Judge Cannon's doing this intentionally as part of a scheme with Trump, and that's why you were involved before 11th Circuit. Do something. Harry, this is quite extraordinary. Let's call in Harry Littman from the Talking Feds YouTube channel, Talking Feds podcast, and Talking Feds Substack. Right, Harry? This is, an extraordinary thing, and I think it's the right move. I think we can debate whether they have standing to make this appeal, and that's it. But the 11th Circuit, hello, 11th Circuit, you got to do something here.
Look, the whole thing is a farce, and it's part of the farces that they mount every day because, as you say, the V point that you raised, Ben, is the big one. This is constitutional. You have to have the whole way that our judicial system works is adversaries go on either side of an argument and make it concrete and make it precise and do their best so a court can rule. This is just like the Trump supposed lawsuit for $230 million or $40 billion. Why not? Because of the prosecutions he had before, just like the Steve Bannon complete whitewash where they're getting rid of that case. What is presented to a court as DOJ or United States v. Cannon blank is not that at all. They are colluding. They're both saying the same thing. And the point you're making would be the same on appeal. If she actually, you're totally right, and I'll come back to it in a moment, but she sits on her duff for over a year with no justification at all. But if and when she actually rules for Nauta and De Oliveira and Trump, whom she has permitted to intervene, even if she hasn't done that for the Knight Institute, then what? They get it wrong. There's nobody who will file the notice of appeal to the 11th Circuit. So we can talk in very intricate legal terms about whether, as you say, the extraordinary recourse to a writ of mandamus is the right way to go, and will there be standing or not. But I think the 11th Circuit is quite aware of what's going on. One of the things that make this interesting, when she was really not just botching it, throwing the case in every which way, there was a lot of pretty good behind the scenes sort of reporting that the 11th Circuit found her to be an embarrassment. We know the chief judge of her district found her to be, told her, don't take this Mar-a-Lago case. And she did it anyway because she's in on the game. She's the only thing she thinks about is Donald Trump and what that could avail her. And God knows that's, everybody else within the judicial system for her lifetime will now, I think, has permanently lost respect for her. But now back to what she did. She just lets it go for a year. And at that point, when she's forced to say something, she said, okay, now I'll consider what to do. And she invites Trump to intervene, which he does. And remember what we are talking about. First, the strongest, everybody agrees, this is a case that was pretty much open and shut against Trump, not only for just purloining all the documents, but the obstruction case was overwhelming. And they had it on video, and he so plainly violated both obstruction rules and rules about purloining of national security documents, which, remember what his defense was basically: I can do whatever I want. I can declassify magically in my head while sleeping, or I can just, nobody's permitted. He was going to lose that case. Now it all goes away. But what is left? What is left for the democracy to try to reckon with what happened and try to prevent things in the future? Some kind of historical accounting. I mean, it is on the one hand vital for us to understand, and on the other, now that Nauta and de Oliveira's cases have been dismissed and they are final, what's on their side that they should say? Smother this and shred it from the view of history forever? Basically nothing. They're not, there's no, whatever's going to come out in Smith's report, well, for one, will be truthful, but for two, the national interest is so much stronger here. But a judge who thinks I'm here to do one thing only, and that is follow Donald Trump's interest, could, exactly as you say, now that there's a collusive case, basically, where DOJ and Nauta, de Oliveira, and Trump as intervener are all on the same side, she's got in her hands the ability to issue an order that then doesn't get contested. So the 11th Circuit could be kind of hard asses about this and could say, here are the narrow circumstances in which the writ of mandamus can be satisfied. But I think they are on to canon, long since on to canon, and the public consequences that really go way beyond this case, but to the actual ability for the democracy to have an honest accounting of a whole part of the two cases against him. Remember, when Smith testifies, the DOJ says, you can't talk about this other one, but we won't tell you what you can't say. It's an outrage sort of, 2 or 3 times over. The initial one because of the injustice of dismissing it, but now not even the pale second ability to have a historical account of what occurred. That's like Orwellian totalitarian stuff. And she's just the person to try to make that happen. So 11th Circuit, we should follow it closely. Even if it's not completely kosher, they may find a way. And I think at least they can issue some kind of statement saying, Eileen Cannon, don't just do this until we say it's okay. And even that would be a big deal because, exactly as you say, they're perfectly capable of colluding and so ordered. And now it's all deleted. Sorry, judge. Sorry, country. Sorry, history. That's what they could be going at without some grown-up judicial supervision.
Right. I mean, Harry, while they go on Fox, which I call state regime media, and say the report would vindicate us, it's all a lie, and here's the truth. That to me is the biggest tell, and it's like, duh. Yeah. But when I try to tell people, I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever, it's the same thing kind of with the Epstein files. It's like, why are there these redactions? Why are they hiding it? Why are they going through this process? Set aside your political views. Who wants to get the information out? Who wants to hide the information? And then it's the same thing over here. They're willing to go on Fox. So if you're willing to go on Fox, then guess what? Release the report. If you think that there are defects in it, go and legally defended, and you can go through it line by line and you can say, look, Jack Smith got it wrong here, or Jack Smith got it right here. That's just what we do in our system.
Yeah.
That's the way I studied in law school. You studied in law school, not because I wanted to go on and be a great Democrat or an independent, because that's what we do. We read documents and we get information. And this is why I made this my life's mission, to expose this stuff, because this is crap. It's just crap.
And power to you, Ben, that you have, and the Meidas mighty, unbelievable army of fighting every day. But it's even bigger than that. Yes, you do documents. Yes, you made arguments. This is the stuff of history. It's a concerted effort, literally, to whitewash the history books, as you have in totalitarian regimes that just present false accounts, state sanctioned. That is so kind of down the middle, or a cornerstone of what it means to live in a democracy, why we have a First Amendment. If just as you say, you've got something to actually counter, well, take it to the court of history, which is the only court, again, because of the happenstance of the election, the only court that this is going to be adjudicated in. But man, the difference between that court and nothing whatsoever, that's just the difference between a hanging on by its fingernails democracy and a totalitarian regime.
Make sure everybody hits subscribe to our YouTube channel, but most importantly, subscribe to Harry Litman's YouTube channel. Search Talking Feds now. Make sure you subscribe to Harry's channel. Harry, always great to see you.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Ben. See ya. Thanks for watching Talking Feds. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe. And for a lot more content, all of my essays, ad-free podcasts, and weekly Ask Me Anything Q&A sessions, check out the Talking Feds Substack, and please subscribe there as well. Talk to you later.